Next is from Clint Stevens. Subject is title belt question for Conan. Hello, Disco Conan. Joe, Disco, and Conan. Clint from Georgia here. The question is for Conan. Curious to know what titles these are in this picture. Trying to compile a list of title belts appeared in WCW. Google has not been much help. I can only determine that the one on your waist is a AAA title. Any help would be appreciated. Extra points. I'll tell you right now what those titles are. One is the we just showed this on the thing the other day. The AAA
Mega.
Is that a What are you wearing here, Conan?
One is the AAA title, and the other two, I believe, are the IWAS, was the promotion John Arezzi ran.
Right.
And I think I had the tag titles at that time, I think with Rey Mysterio Jr.
Okay, bonus question. If allowed, what's your favorite title belt in wrestling history? I couldn't even tell you what they look like, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't.
There's
no
belt collectors.
I don't collect belts. I don't buy them. Joe does.
Right.
There's a picture of him with a belt that he probably bought. Or what was that?
What
was that picture?
Conrad, when he did live shows, he would bring the original Flair gold belt from the big one from the 80s that everybody
I don't even
knows.
know
and
what that looks like.
It would be like, hey, do you want to hold it for the picture? And I got to hold it in the picture, especially for killing that disco.
Just like if you bought figurines and you've admitted to that, because they used to be up there, but we so much you brought them down. And I'm sure CM Punk is sitting on your knee as we speak, the little CM Punk figurine. If you bought figurines, which you've admitted to, right?
Yeah.
And you still have them in your house, I know you have a replica belt somewhere.
Absolutely.
If I could make a profit off it, I'd probably buy one.
This is an interesting.
Those figures were only bought for.
Buy one.
Those figures were only bought for resale value, Conan. Come on, you know that.
I doubt that. I'm sure you played with them, and I'm sure that you had them up there just like every other nerd geek that at your age that still follows wrestling.
Next one's from Danger Ross. No relation to Ranger Ross, I don't think. Subject. This is an interesting angle here. Subject is Nick Wayne. I feel like the AEW is kind of emulating Dominic Mysterio in his angle. Don't get me wrong, I do like the angle, but it just comes off as Kmart Dominic angle. Strangely, Edge is involved in both angles. Do you think the angles are similar, or am I just overthinking it? Now, first of all, I haven't seen a video clip or anything about what Nick Wayne did to turn heel, because AEW didn't show it, or
right.
if they did, so I don't even know what the angle is. I just know that he's standing there, he's with Cage now.
Yeah.
And Cage
he turned against Darby, I think, and I don't remember.
Yeah. He turned against Darby in that pay-per-view main event where Edge came out after for the save.
Right. So that's I don't know.
Wrestle Dream. Yeah.
So if you didn't see the pay-per-view, right?
It is interesting though that maybe they are. But the Dominic Mysterio thing is a father-son thing. Nick Wayne's not a father-son situation. His dad's I don't know. That's a weird question, but I don't. I mean, AEW has tons of young cats like that.
Yeah, I don't think this has anything to do with the Dominic angle. I think you're overthinking, like you said.
Right.
He's got to deal with Mommy, with Rhea Ripley, which is, and he's in the Judgment Day. This guy, Nick Wayne, joined who? Because I saw him come out on Collision this week, and I was like, this guy has, to me, zero heat. Doesn't come off as a heel. Looks really young. Like he doesn't even look like a star.
Yeah, he's a young.
He looks like a guy that shouldn't be out there with like he'd get beat up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's visually what the guy looks like. He's just he's too skinny and small.
That. They did this thing on Collision where Darby was in the ring with him and he was like gonna kick him, and he got scared and he balled up like that. No heel would do that. So he's trying to be like a baby face, but he doesn't look believable. You know.
We'll see. We'll give him. I'm gonna see. You never know. The kid may end up being.
You never know, but right now he don't look believable to me.
Right. I will say this though. It is interesting. Like if you think about this, they do a lot of weird booking with Darby. Like all of his friends, his friends from the past. He brings them all in. They all turn on him. Like the AR Fox turned on him. Then the AR Fox was a heel for like 2 weeks. Then he accepted him back. Now Nick Wayne turned on. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, maybe Nick Wayne will just be heel for 2 weeks, and then Darby will have him back. And then that's just the thing is like, you always have arguments with your friends, and then like 2 weeks later we're friends again. So but here they're having him in the heel faction.
They don't let anything set in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's a problem with being a constant babyface too. I mean, you could set your watch to back in the day when someone was going to turn on Hogan or Sting. You know, it was repetitive. They did it all the time. Seems like Darby's, you know.
Yeah, he's like that spot. Everybody's turning on him.
Yeah.
Next from Jerome Jones, subject Charlotte Flair. Conan Disco. Is there a reason why Charlotte Flair is always in the title picture? I know she's an amazing talent and is one of Vince's favorites, but she doesn't need to go for titles all the time. I mean, Jerome Jones, that's what her dad did. Ric Flair was, how many times was Ric Flair world champion, Conan?
16, like 17 or something.
17 or 18.
Yeah, that's what he was. He was like, wrestling's different. Like Ric Flair was like perpetually, like in my mind, always the champion, because he was like a championship guy. He exemplified like the symbol of professional wrestling. Like he was symbolic. I'm the world champ. I got the hair, the robe, and stuff. The flamboyance of professional wrestling. That's why he was always in the title picture, because he played the part of a world champion very well. And it's like, you don't get the guy that wants the same heritage belt, right? Go ahead.
But here's the problem. I never got tired of Flair because he was always so entertaining. Charlotte's not entertaining. So it's like,
you're right. Charlotte's an entertaining heel. She's not an entertaining babyface, right? Yeah.
Yeah, at all. Right.
Yeah.
Did you see the thing with Flair recently? I think it's maybe DI's more likely to have seen it, where he was invited to this comedy roast show and he walked off because the jokes were too mean-spirited or something like that. It was like it was all over the internet because the show is pretty popular. I don't know if you'd seen clips or not.
No, if you can't send it to us, maybe we can watch it before the show's over.
Okay.
All right, next is from Stewart. The subject is Edge overacting. Hi, K100 crew. Was a big fan of Edge before his initial retirement. However, since returning, I think he's believed his own hype a little too much, and his acting has been bad. In addition to his long-winded and cringe promos, do you agree? No. Disco, if you find this question boring, alternately, I'd love to hear a breakdown of the royalties you receive for your fanatic vocals on Rainbow Connection and the use of your likeness for Gonzo. Thanks, loyal listener Stewart. Let's suspend him. I'm going to give him a yellow card on that one.
Because you were on there?
Because I don't know what the Rainbow Connection is. I don't know what Gonzo is. I think he's like trying to be funny.
Gonzo's from the Muppets.
The guy with the big nose.
Oh, suspension then. Yeah. Well, it's red card.
Red card.
Two yellow cards. It's a red card. This is suspension. I think Edge's acting's good. What's wrong with Edge's acting? I mean, he's always had these. He's always had these. His whole gimmick and his whole sell of his character is always facial shots and the facial reactions. You know, like he's always had the. I'm gonna get this shot. I mean, he's always had that shot. You know. I don't think he's overacting. I would disagree with that. I think he's a pretty good actor, actually. What would you say, Cody?
No, he's talking about in AEW since he go into the AEW.
It's only been one show.
I saw one. No, it's been two. It's been Collision and it's been the pay-per-view.
Right.
Yeah.
What did you do on Collision?
He just did this
Joe,
thing
look up the rating for Collision, by the way.
I don't think it was very good.
All right. We'll keep going.
The Rainbow Connection, DI, was a hit song in the late 70s.
By the Muppets.
It was sang by Kermit. It was sang by Kermit the Frog, though. So that's another cheap. That's another cheap shot.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
Collision had 353,000, which was a slight increase, which had 327 the previous week.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, bro, what did I tell everybody that show was? It was Rampage Night 2, which is basically the same. It's people that are obsessed with the AEW wrestling. There's about 300. It's about 400,000 of those people out there that are actually willing to watch Collision on a Saturday night ahead instead of football. It's like,
yeah, and I mean, I know that you gotta, widening your presence on TV is good. You got to take the money from the network if they offer it. But speaking from my perspective, AEW lost some of its specialness. Uniqueness, if you will, when these other shows came on. It made Dynamite, less must see because they had 3 shows. You know what I'm saying? Like it just, I don't know, made it less interesting to me. Same thing that happened with Nitro.
Next is from David, and the subject is: Disco, do you have it ready? Yo, Disco, you get that $100 ready for Joe? I think you had a bad take on this one. We discussed this. We already discussed that, didn't we, Joe? It went up on the show last week, right?
The fact that that you think
the whole punk discussion that we had on Friday.
Oh yeah. It was a whole it was a whole segment.
Yeah, I don't know what this guy's like.
Well, tell him where he can go listen to this discussion. K100 Talks on this feed.
No. It was on the main show. It was I used it on the main show. It was episode 379 came out this weekend.
Yeah, we go in depth about that.
You didn't put it as a talks?
No, well, you told me not to. You guys said it was too short. Remember, I said if we give it another 5 minutes, we could probably make it a talks, and you guys were like, nah, just put it on the show.
All right.
Yeah.
Did we do a talks last week?
I don't think so. Did we, Joe?
No, our last talks was our last talks was concussions and CTE and all that.
All right.
So maybe
it
we
came out
need to
last
do one
week. So
tomorrow.
you were due one. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
We'll do one. No, I don't know. I mean, come on.
We'll find
We'll
the
finish the
subject.
mailbag first. Then we'll
Yeah.
figure out something in the next couple of days. All right.